Yes, now blessed, now don't forget to rest now. Let's jump straight in. Longest Hate is the last track on this record. We've been listening to Power of Inner Strength by the band Grip Incorporated. This entirely through has gone out to my good friend Jim, who recommended this. So if you're a fan of this band, if you're a fan of Lombardo and you're a fan of everything in between, don't fat me, fat my man Jim. We're going to move on to another record by Jim after this. I mean, on the YouTube, it's going to be playing alongside this anyway, more than likely, song by song by song. But if you're on the Patreon, we're going to check out Forced Entry next. So this is Longest Hate, track 11 of 11. Let's see what they've got in store. That's a Lombardo drum fill right there. Sounds like something off of South of Heaven. Sounds like something off a Dead Skin Mask.
Including Detroit, Washington, and Los Angeles, where when blacks move in, whites move out.
Separatists preaching from misinterpretation of the book. Racist breeding hate. Ignorance between the lines.
It's about racism, tribalism, division. And it's fascinating because I came across a bit of information as of recent, and I know that, you know, there's biological impulses and, you know, explanations, and to blame the people isn't as important in this punk rock fashion. To blame the powers that be that go out of their way to contribute to the division, right? I found an interesting... Well, I went on an interesting rabbit hole of the brain and how in our human thinking brain we have got two hemispheres, right? and the neocortex, two hemispheres of the human brain, given that we have a mammalian brain and a reptilian brain that comes prior to that, you know, manifest our emotion and emotional reactions and our fight and flight and freeze. And someone added a fourth one, which I found was fascinating. Fight, flight, freeze, and I forgot what word they used, but it was in regards to giving up, just like giving up, which I should remember really because it's fascinating. But I spoke on the powers that be understand this, and that's why they use the left-right paradigm, right? So like your left-wing and your right-wing politics, your Western world and your Eastern world, and there's this duality of everything that they use to create an us versus them dynamic. And the thing is, it stops us from applying an overall... It stops us from perceiving things from both sides. Because if I say I'm left wing, right, then I'm only operating with one particular hemisphere of the brain. And that's the right hemisphere of the brain that the left-wing politics applies itself to. It's part of human nature, right? These political factions and groups counteract each other, and both of them are effective because both of them apply to the actual brain of the human being, right? So whereas one political party or one part of the world or, you know, one theory or social movement applies to one part of the brain, it detracts from the other. So we as human beings are left off balance, and whilst we're off balance and focusing on one thing more so than the other, or applying ourselves to one part of our nature as opposed to the other, we can be manipulated and controlled by the powers that be. And as long as they keep us divided in this sense, in ourselves, it manifests in the real world, and we divide ourselves societally speaking, and it's a means of control by the people who understand this neurological process and this deep knowledge of who we are as humans. It's crazy. I don't like division. There's a lot of it in the world right now, and it's been forced. I live in England, and you should see, it's a disgusting place to be. The division is crazy. The forced destruction of this place, the intentional destruction that is being manifest for political purpose is fucking horrible. It's horrible. And yeah, that's why I just thought I'd have a little bit of food for thought there, you know, on a deeper note. But I say that to say this, they're on about fascist Nazis and all this and that. Don't blame your fellow man. We are all but human. Blame the people who are pulling the strings. Blame the media who utilise this on a consistent basis. I went to the hospital a couple years back, yeah? Nothing major. But whilst I was in the waiting room, they had like 3 monitors on the screen just force-feeding this this endless cycle of the same like 4, if not 5 news stories. And each and every one of them was based upon divide. And the one story you get, which, you know, detracts from the politicized negativity, was one of sports. And it's like, what's sports based upon? Divide, tribalism, distraction, entertainment. It's all one big fucking theatre, man. And it's shit. It's honestly really shit. That's why I like punk rock and punk rock writing. It engages in your thought, it engages in discussion, and it's good. It's good. I'll be real with you as well. As far as like punk rock music is concerned and stuff, there's a lot of politicised lyricism and it errs into the realm of virtue signaling a lot, right? I mean, I've spent a lot of time, you know, artistically studying and finding fascination in these bands and these live communities and so forth. And I think a lot of them are hiding. I think a lot of it is overcompensatory because by default, if you're like a punk rocker and all this and that, you tend to be a little bit of a dingy guy. You tend to come from a background as to where it's a little bit, some people come from traumatizing backgrounds and are attracted to this particular style of music, an aggressive style of music, because it's a representation of how they feel. And if you go around being an angry person, it's not a great frequency to operate on, right? But there's a lot of anti-racist rhetoric and all this and that, and you look at the community, it's the least inclusive demographic you will ever see. You go to my local hardcore punk community where all they talk about stuff like this, it's all fucking white people, it's all white men. It's unbelievable how the contrast between the message and the actual reality is represent, but this is a story for another time. Just listen to dance music. That's the real unifying music. Ba-da-da-da. How's that for an abrupt ending, huh? That was Grip Inc. Let's do one last video. I'll give you my final overview of this record as a whole, and we'll rate it out of 10. See you there.